My family uninvited me from Thanksgiving, so I fed 32 people at my $6.02 estate without them. I stood there staring at my phone, reading the message over and over again. We're keeping Thanksgiving small this year, only immediate family, sorry if we can't include everyone. That everyone meant me. For a few seconds, I didn't even feel angry, just confused. I thought maybe my sister Sarah had sent it by mistake. Maybe she meant to say something else, but then my mom didn't call, my brother didn't text, no one said a word, and that's when it hit me, they hadn't forgotten me. They had chosen to leave me out. Thanksgiving, the one holiday that used to mean everything. The smell of roasted turkey, the sound of laughter echoing through the house, my dad's bad jokes, my mom's endless stories, and me sneaking mashed potatoes before dinner. It wasn't about the food, it was about family. And now I was standing in silence, holding a phone that had just shattered every illusion I had left. I put the phone down on the marble counter of my kitchen and looked around. The house was huge, 6 bedrooms, 2 kitchens, a dining table long enough for 20 people. But at that moment it felt smaller than ever. Loneliness has a way of shrinking everything around you. I remember whispering to myself, so this is what success feels like. Not pride, not peace, just distance. If you're watching Darkside Revenge, hit that subscribe button and let me know where you're watching from. Please comment below. That night I made a quiet promise. If they didn't want me at their table, I would build one of my own, a bigger one, and I'd fill it with people who actually cared. People who knew what it felt like to be left out, because maybe, just maybe, the people who have the least know how to appreciate the most. If you've ever been left out by the people you love, stay till the end, because this isn't just a story about being uninvited. It's a story about finding family in the most unexpected places. A few years ago, I was the golden child of my family, the one who made it. I started from nothing, a tiny apartment, no savings, just a dream and a laptop. I built a real estate company from scratch, working days, nights, weekends. And when it finally took off, everything changed. Within 5 years, I was living in a $6.2 million estate overlooking the hills, with glass walls, an infinity pool, and a dining room big enough to host a royal banquet. It was surreal. People I'd never met wanted to shake my hand. My name started meaning something, and at first my family was proud. They told everyone how their baby brother had made it big. My mom would beam every time she talked about me. Sarah would brag, "That's my brother, the businessman." But slowly pride turned into something else. The jokes got colder, the tone shifted. When I offered to host family dinners, Sarah would say, "We'd feel out of place at your fancy house." My mom would add, "We're simple folks, Alex, you don't need to impress us." I told myself it was humility, but it was resentment, it was discomfort. I noticed the calls got shorter, the texts less frequent, the warmth gone. Every time I reached out, they pulled back just a little more, until eventually they stopped reaching out altogether, and I couldn't understand why. I hadn't changed. I was still the same person, still the same son, the same brother. The only difference was the number in my bank account. But success has a strange way of revealing people's hearts. It doesn't just show who you are, it shows who they are too. And by the time that message came through, uninviting me from Thanksgiving, I realized something I didn't want to believe. I hadn't outgrown my family. They'd simply stopped growing with me. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept staring at the ceiling, trying to make sense of everything. Finally, I picked up my phone and opened social media, and there it was, a photo that made my chest tight. Sarah had posted it, "Family Thanksgiving Planning Night Red." Everyone was there, my mom, my brother, my cousins, even distant relatives who never showed up for anything, all smiles, all pretending I didn't exist. And then I saw the comments. Someone wrote, "Wish Alex could make it." And Sarah replied, "Oh, he's too busy living his fancy mansion life these days." I froze. That one sentence hit me harder than I expected. Busy? No, I wasn't busy. I was available. I was waiting. They didn't even ask. They just assumed I wouldn't want to come. I sat there at my kitchen island, staring at my reflection in the dark glass of the window. For the first time in years, that house didn't feel like home. It felt like a museum, full of beautiful things and not a single soul to share them with. Maybe they thought I had changed, maybe I had. But if success made me unworthy of a seat at their table, then maybe that table wasn't worth sitting at anymore. That's when something shifted inside me, a quiet determination. I wasn't going to let bitterness define me. I wasn't going to chase validation anymore. Instead, I would do something so meaningful, so genuine, that it would remind me, and maybe even them, what Thanksgiving was really about. If they didn't want me at their dinner, then I'd host one of my own. The next morning, I called my event planner, Claire. She picked up cheerful as always. "Morning, Alex, what's the project this time?" I told her. "Thanksgiving, my house, but not for family." She paused. "Then for who?" I smiled. "For strangers." And just like that, the plan began. I wanted to host Thanksgiving for people who didn't have anyone to celebrate with: veterans, single parents, college students far from home, seniors from the local nursing home, anyone who felt forgotten. Within 2 days, the estate was transformed. The chefs arrived, roasting turkey after turkey until the air smelled like comfort itself. The decorators set up long tables, candles flickering like tiny stars. Volunteers helped set each place with care: real china, crystal glasses, folded napkins. Every seat was for someone who deserved to feel special, even if just for one night. When I saw it all come together, something inside me softened. I looked at those tables and thought, this is what family should feel like. By Thanksgiving morning, we had confirmed 32 guests, 32 people who thought they'd be eating alone. And as they started arriving, I could see it in their faces: surprise, gratitude, disbelief. Some brought small gifts, a handwritten card, cookies, even a drawing from a child. They didn't want to come empty-handed. And for the first time in years, I felt like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. If you're still watching right now, hit that like button, because sometimes the best stories are born from heartbreak. And trust me, this one's about to get even better. The dinner began right at noon. The laughter was instant, the conversations flowed, and the sound of clinking glasses filled the air. People from completely different walks of life were connecting as if they'd known each other forever. There was an elderly woman who hadn't celebrated Thanksgiving in over a decade. A soldier who said it was his first real meal since leaving service. A young student who couldn't afford a ticket home. I walked around, greeting everyone, making sure each person felt seen. The house was alive again, warm, full, and then halfway through dinner my phone buzzed. It was Sarah. For a second I hesitated, but something in me told me to answer. I stepped away and said quietly, "Hey." She sounded nervous. "Hey, Mom wanted to check on you. We were just wondering what you were doing today." I looked around at the tables filled with smiling faces and said, "Having Thanksgiving dinner." She paused. "Oh, with who?" I smiled. "With family, just not the one you'd expect." The silence on the other end said everything. Finally, she whispered, "Alex, we didn't mean to leave you out. We just thought you'd be too busy." I sighed and said softly, "Yeah, I guess I was, just not in the way you think." And for the first time, I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel small. I felt free, because I realized I didn't need their table anymore. I had built one of my own. The next morning, I woke up to dozens of notifications. One of the guests had posted photos of the dinner with the caption, "A millionaire opened his home to strangers for Thanksgiving and gave us more love than we've felt in years." It went viral overnight, thousands of likes, hundreds of comments. People were saying things like, "This is what the holidays are about, and money doesn't change everyone, kindness still exists." Then my phone rang. It was Sarah again. Her voice sounded different this time, softer. "Alex, Mom saw the photos. She's really proud of you." Then she laughed nervously. "Maybe next year we can do Thanksgiving together at your place." I smiled even though she couldn't see it. "We'll see," I said gently. Not to be cold, but because I'd learned something powerful. Forgiveness doesn't mean letting people back in right away. It means letting go of the pain so it doesn't control you anymore. That day, I didn't feel like the uninvited brother. I felt like the man who had redefined what family meant. They had shut me out, but I had opened my doors to people who truly needed them. That Thanksgiving changed everything for me. It reminded me of something my grandmother used to say: "A table isn't full when it's covered in food, it's full when it's surrounded by love." For so long, I thought success meant proving myself, showing my family I'd made it. But real success is sharing what you have even when no one's watching. When my family shut me out, I thought I'd lost them. But instead, I found something bigger: connection, kindness, belonging. Now every year I host the same dinner, open invitation. No rules, no reservations, no expectations. If you show up, you're family. And maybe one day my real family will walk through those doors again. If they do, there'll be a seat waiting for them. Because forgiveness, that's the real feast. If this story touched your heart, hit that like button right now and tell me in the comments, what would you do if your family uninvited you from Thanksgiving? Would you walk away or would you build your own table? If you enjoyed this story, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and let me know in the comments. If it happened to you, what would you do in my shoes? Because sometimes being left out isn't the end, it's the beginning of something extraordinary.